Hello, everyone. So today it might look like we're just talking about Rome Total Realism Platinum Edition Remastered, which is a port for Total War Rome Remastered by myself and A Howell 11 of the classic Rome Total Realism Platinum Edition. But in fact, this is something more. And while that mod is fantastic on its own, it doesn't, aside from significant stability improvements, like it's very stable now, it does not take advantage of some of the remaster's additions, like utilizing additional faction slots and additional scripts and things like that. So this is a submod that was just released that does take advantage of that. And let's actually take a look at our first additional faction here. We have the Kingdom of Epirus. So if I'm not mistaken, the original Rome Total Realism Platinum Edition had just the Greek cities here, and that faction included sort of Epirus within it, a sort of an amalgam faction, so vanilla style. But now Kingdom of Epirus is its own separate faction, utilizing units in the Rome Total Realism Platinum Edition style that were added into mods like Imperator 2, which I've also covered on the channel. You can check out a link to that. I'll put that as well. That's another fun mod. Only the Romans are playable in that one. And again, another thing about Rome Total Realism Platinum Edition is it's kind of an in-between between vanilla gameplay and fast vanilla gameplay and slower, more deliberate, kind of guided Europa Barbarorum gameplay. It's somewhere in the middle of that. It doesn't change the vanilla gameplay too much. So if you like the vanilla gameplay, this is the mod for you. And other than the Kingdom of Epirus being added, we also have several changes to the map that improve historical accuracy and better placement of cities, as well as city name changes. So, for example, there was one that caused a lot of people to get kind of upset. That was oh, actually, no, this one wasn't changed. Okay, so there really was only one major change that I can notice here, and that's Gornie in Armenia instead of Artaxata, because Artaxata was, as everyone who watches my channel knows, was founded in the 2nd century BC, so not in the 3rd century BC. So that change was for me, so thank you to Ezekiel Lupo for making that change for this submod. And other than the Kingdom of Epirus, we have another faction in Africa, and that is the Kingdom of Mauretania. So the Mauretanians are here in northwest Africa, and they kind of give the Numidians and the Carthaginians something else to worry about here, rather than just going at it. And, you know, it's a little lonely out here. So with Mauretania, it's a little more crowded, a little nicer here in the west, a little more attention to that region. I guess one other thing that perhaps might be added in the future, I'm not sure, I don't want to spoil anything, well, I don't know, is perhaps another tribe in Gaul, or in Germania, or in Britannia. But other than that, we also have one last addition, and this one is probably the best one, or not the best one, but the most critical one, and that is the Mauryan Empire here in the east. And of course, the eastern part of the map is kind of the most neglected in Rome Total Realism Platinum Edition. It's a very old mod, right? It's a very old mod. In fact, this map, this campaign map, is not Mundus Magnus. It's another map, a very old map that was used in Rome Total Realism Platinum Edition and a lot of its submods, and mods based on it, like First Man in Rome, Fall of the Republic, Rise of the Empire, 77 BC, 58 BC, and yeah, this map is pretty famous for that, and it's pretty famous for it. You know, it doesn't really look that great in the original Rome Total War. Like Europa Barbarorum's map and Mundus Magnus, they look a lot nicer. But in Rome Remastered, this map doesn't look so bad. Now, is it the most realistic one? No. Just look at the Himalayas here. It's kind of the minor hills, right? The Himalayas are minor hills in the east here, and the Tarim Basin and the desert out here with the Tocharians is a nice forested area. So not the most accurate map. But, you know, the addition of the Mauryans out here, so we have the Kingdom of Bactria, and we have the Parthians in a more proper, historically accurate position. But even then, it was very easy for the Seleucids. Like, they didn't have too many enemies out here. And actually easy for the Parthians and the Bactrians too, because all you would have to do as the Parthians or the Bactrians is, you know, gobble up the other one. So like as Parthia, you would just make a beeline for the Bactrian cities, take them over, destroy Bactria, and then boom, the whole eastern and northeastern part of the map is your playground, and then you go after the Seleucids. But with the addition of the Mauryan Empire, you have another enemy to worry about, and another playable faction, and it's got a full roster. Looks pretty nice. So actually, I'll get into a battle here. Oh, and portraits. There's a new Indian culture, and they have portraits here. So we have Ashoka Maurya here with a nice portrait. So, and the portraits look pretty nice. They don't clash too much with vanilla. In fact, I would say they are in vanilla Rome Total War style, and that's a good thing, because the Rome Total War portraits are my second favorite after the original medieval Total War portraits. Maybe I'll do a Total War tier list ranking the how much I like the portraits, with Empire and Medieval 2 being last. But, well, okay, and then Rome 2. But Rome 2 doesn't have portraits. It's like little models, which don't look that great. But let's go to the to custom battle, and I'll show off some of these new units, especially the Mauryan ones. All right, so here we are in battle, taking a look at some of the units here. So let's start the battle, because the results of the battle don't matter. And we've got Indian swordsmen, and we have the Mauryan general here, or captain, looking good. And you can tell they're kind of made in the style of Rome Total Realism Platinum Edition, so not there won't be too much of a clash there. We've got Indian spearmen, levy spearmen, javelinmen, some sort of heavier cavalry. I like the shield there. And also some light cavalry, and then, of course, our elephants. Nice shield here as well. Excuse me. And then our Mauryan Indian elephants looking good over there. So, of course, attacking us, we have the Kingdom of Epirus troops, and, of course, their troops are pretty similar to the Greek cities and Macedon, but of course with different armor and skins. So these are the Epirote elite phalangites or phalangites, and these are the sort of medium ones, looking good. And then over here we have so this reminds me to talk about one other thing the submod does that I just completely forgot to mention, and that is it also adds shadow factions for the major factions. So these are the Ptolemaic rebels. So in Barbarian Invasion, you have the shadow faction mechanic. So when there's a rebellion and mismanagement within the Empire, there are rebellions, right? And you can have shadow Roman rebels that sort of try to take over the Western Roman Empire, right, in Barbarian Invasion. So in this submod, Ezekiel Lupo has added rebel shadow factions for all the major factions. So now That barbarian invasion shadow faction mechanic and emergent rebel faction mechanic is present for all the major factions, and that is really cool. That makes the campaign really a lot more dynamic, and that's something that Rome Total Realism Platinum Edition Remastered definitely needed. So this submod is very good in terms of improving the gameplay of the mod, and there are still some elements of the submod that aren't fully ready. So like the campaign selection mini-maps aren't quite ready. There's a couple other things that need to be edited, but it's already playable. You can download it from the Steam Workshop. I'll have a link to that in the description. So if you would be interested in that, please take a look at it. It's very good. And take a look at Rome Total Realism Platinum Edition Remastered. Again, it's a classic mod. I really always enjoyed it. It's kind of the first mod I ever played, so I highly recommend you check it out. Anyway, if you enjoy content about the historical Total Wars and their mods, consider liking this video, consider subscribing to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one later.